Hi, and welcome to CryptoBiography. I'm your host, Brandon Starr. This is episode 353 of CryptoBiography, and it's part 4 of the free Censor. And here we go. It was a news item about a recent park gathering to hear music. The music had all been pre-approved, and no untoward acts had occurred. It seemed to Thom that it was barely a news article at all. Were they testing him in some way? He figured there had to be something worth censoring here, or they wouldn't have mentioned it. He went at it from different directions. Was the music actually not allowed? Was the timing, the place, the number of people? Nothing seemed wrong. He read and reread it. It was only a few short paragraphs. He thought more about it. What might be wrong about this? Perhaps it conflicted with some other more important governmental activity? But no, it had been pre-approved for the time and date in any case. Had it been held on some important counter-revolutionary date? There was a list. It was quite long, but he was able to determine the event wasn't held on the anniversary of any such date, nor was the fourth third day of the month such a day either. He sat back. He couldn't think of anything else to check about this innocuous gathering. So did they give him an article that didn't need any correction? Perhaps to see what he might overcorrect in his new zealousness? While that now seemed possible, he decided to think some more. One of the rules that the books had driven home was trust no one. Perhaps this wasn't about the event. There were 2 other censors who had looked at and passed this article so far. Perhaps they were untrustworthy? Well, maybe not. But they'd made no suggestions for changes, so there was nothing to judge. Perhaps the original writer. And then he found it. The article was a ruse. The first word of each sentence spelled out a message. This is what you should report and censor. Well done. In a way, he was disappointed that he hadn't seen a real article. Yet, he was thrilled that he had discovered their trick. He turned in the work, and the same nameless tutor came back. They held a new book in their hands. Well done. There's a book, which we don't show until someone has passed the secret message test, and shows you many ways that writers have tried to sneak messages past the censors and out into society, where it could have done great mischief. Thom took the book and nodded. He had only about an hour left in his first day, but he started reading it and took more notes. After that, the job went well. He learned more and more about detecting dangerous or illegal messages and found more week by week. Once in a while, he wondered about John, too. It seemed to him like overkill to have someone from that high up do what amounted to his job interview. But those wonderings didn't happen much, as he was too busy, and happened less as the time passed. He'd already decided it was some sort of coincidence, and that he would never see John 2 again, when in fact, John showed up at his desk, right at the end of his shift. We've watched your progress, Thom. You've done well. Thanks. You know I never considered you just another censor. Were you aware of that? Well, Thom said, choosing his words carefully, I wondered why someone of your station would oversee my interview process. Exactly, John 2 said. It was never intended that you would be a censor for life. There is something that the government needs of you. Come with me, please. They left and ended up going down another series of hallways, which Thom couldn't tell if he'd been down before or not. They ended up in a room much like the one where his interview had been held. Thom couldn't be sure it wasn't the same room, but this time there wasn't anyone else there. John 2 waved him into the same chair he'd sat at last time, and then sat across from him likewise, assuming this was the same room. As soon as Thom glanced at the other chairs, John 2 said, No one else this time. No further explanation as to why, so Thom just waited. We've always had a problem, John 2 said. No matter how well we train our censors, no matter how many of them see a particular document, there are always a few that go out with hidden or dangerous messages. That is why we have another censor, a special censor, the free censor. John 2 paused a moment, but Thom didn't know how to react other than raising his eyebrows to show interest. We've decided you should be the next free censor. If you choose, you'll be taught exactly what that title means, be given a substantial boost in pay, and a raising of your number to 9. Thom, who had only risen to Thom 29 as a regular censor, leaned forward. How many free censors are there? John 2 paused a moment, then apparently decided he could say, never more than 1. If you accept, you'll understand why soon enough. I accept. Then tomorrow, come to the front of the office, and from there, you'll be brought to your new place of work. And that's the end of the episode this week. Hope you're enjoying it. I am still enjoying writing it. If you have any comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, cryptobiography@gmail.com, or hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. And thanks for listening. Words and Music, copyright 2024. Brandon Starr, all rights reserved. Characters and events are fictional, fictionalized, or satirical.